All right, folks, brace yourselves. A visibly feeble Donald Trump is currently in the Middle East, and earlier today, he was caught on camera falling asleep at a state function. Worse, as we speak, he's droning, malfunctioning, glitching his way through what might be the worst speech of his political career, if not the craziest. It's so bad that foreign dignitaries in the audience are glancing away nervously, and Trump's own staff, like Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, and Scott Bessent, are either yawning, looking away, looking at their phones, or falling asleep. It is a total shit show, to say nothing of Trump stumbling over his words, accidentally insulting himself, and also the mother of all Freudian slips that we have to talk about. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. Can't wait to show you some of the clips of this speech. I don't even know where to begin. But first, let's look at this viral clip of Donald Trump earlier today falling asleep at a state function in Saudi Arabia.
Read a lot of the material now out of Saudi Arabia, and Mohammed bin Salman is saying we need a resolution on a Palestinian state. And I don't necessarily recall several years ago, pre-October 7th, as that being a demand that he had necessarily stated publicly. Do you think his position has changed, or do you think the way he has expressed himself has that?
Now, this is on Fox News, and I want you to imagine what Fox would be saying if this were President Biden falling asleep at a state function. They wouldn't be providing any commentary beyond insulting Biden, which is, I suppose they're right, but they hold Trump to a different standard. They grade him on a curve. And speaking of grading him on a curve, before I play you some of these clips of the speech, Megyn Kelly, former Fox News host, MAGA podcaster, just totally roasted herself, and she's now getting roasted in the replies and in the quote tweets. But she says it's so nice to have a president who can walk down the stairs without us having to hold our breath, who projects strength, who the world sees and understands is not some weak, infirm pushover who's squeezing a meeting in between Matlock episodes. And of course, people are roasting her left, right, and center. Jack Cocciarella says he was falling asleep on camera. Somebody saying, I wish we actually had a president like that instead of a guy who skips intelligence briefings, spends 60% of his day on executive time where he's just in bed watching Fox News and eating McDonald's while rage truthing. Bait used to be believable. People sharing clips of Trump struggling to walk down ramps. Her post aged well, again, referencing Trump falling asleep on camera. So it's just so funny to watch Megyn Kelly get, humiliated in this respect. But speaking of humiliation, there is none worse than what Trump is inflicting on himself at this very moment. So we're going to play some of these clips. And again, note how foreign dignitaries are kind of glancing aside nervously. And you'll see some of the reactions as well in clips I'm about to show you from Trump's own people.
Never seen before. There's never been anything like it. And we let other people tariff us into losing a lot of money and a lot of jobs, and now we're tariffing them, and it's at a level that nobody's seen. It's a level that is making us a very much different country and a very different Republican Party. We won a tremendous victory in November. We won all 7 swing states, the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. The Electoral College we won by 3.
Did you see that? Did you see people like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Trump just droning on and on. He sounds visibly tired. He looks visibly tired. And if that wasn't bad enough, how he sounds and how foreign dignitaries are reacting to this, let's look at the reactions of some of Trump's own people, also caught on camera.
Investments have been announced or are coming just since the election on November 5th. So think of that in a very short period of time. Investments.
Marco Rubio, just like, oh my God, I wish I was anywhere else other than here. Yawning. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, also not handling this speech particularly well.
The whole world watching when Saudi Arabia joins us, and you'll be greatly honoring me, and you'll be
greatly honoring you. Bessent's asleep. Bessent is falling asleep on camera while his boss talks. And you think, okay, that's Rubio, that's Bessent. What about a younger, fitter man, right? What about a more devout Trump acolyte? Not these rhinos like Rubio and Bessent. Maybe somebody like Pete Hegseth, former Fox News host, defense secretary. Somebody who's at the prime of his life physically. I'm sure he's all engaged.
Mohammed knew that. He knew that. Smart people knew that. If only the Mohammed knew that.
He's looking down at his phone, right? Probably on a signal chat, if anything. He's like, shit, I haven't like sent any classified military information to my wife, my brother, my personal attorney, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. It's been a minute. Maybe I should get on that. So even he is bored out of his mind as Trump stumbles his way through this. Got another clip here. Again, look at Bessent and look at Rubio.
But they understand, and we're doing what a lot of smart people would do. And
That's so embarrassing. These people are like, oh my God, get me out of here. This guy is struggling in real time. I want to play that clip one more time, though, because here Trump makes a Freudian slip, okay? Listen carefully to what he says. Try not to fall asleep when you do, but listen very carefully.
But they understand, and we're doing what a lot of smart people would do. And we're not necessarily being politically correct. You saw what we did yesterday with health care. We've cut our health care by 50 to 90%.
We cut our health care by 50 to 90%. We did it yesterday. Now, he's probably referring to his bullshit executive order about cutting drug prices, okay, rather than trying to work through much more durable legislation with Republicans and Democrats. His party controls both chambers of Congress. If he really wants to go after pharmaceutical companies and price gouging and lower prices for the American people, Democrats have been begging for that for years, and it's been Republicans who oppose it by and large. Instead, he's signing an executive order that will almost certainly be successfully challenged and overturned the way previous executive orders have been. But I digress. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say, we cut our drug prices 50 to 90%. He says we've cut our health care. It occurred to me, that might be a bit of a Freudian slip, right? Because we did a video about this. Maybe you didn't see it, but Trump and his Republicans are trying to put forth this big, beautiful reconciliation bill, the spending bill, right, for the new government budget. And Trump says we can find $880 billion worth of waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid. Now, virtually every expert, including conservative experts, agree that number is bullshit. The only way you can cut $880 billion from Medicaid is to actually uninsure people, to kick people off Medicaid, to deny them their benefits. You're not going to find nearly $1 trillion worth of waste, fraud, and abuse, right? Well, we have, as I mentioned in a previous video, new information from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, which works for Congress, in Congress led by Republicans, and they have revealed that the newly revealed Trump-backed big, beautiful bill, Republican proposed bill, will kick off 13.7 million Medicaid recipients. Kick them off, okay? As one points out, we estimate that the expiration of the expanded premium tax credits will increase the number of people without health insurance by 4.2 million, okay? Another proposal in this bill, we estimate that finalizing the 2025 Marketplace Integrity and Affordability Rule, as proposed, will increase the number of people without health insurance by 1.8 million in 2034. Based on our analysis completed so far, CBO estimates that E&C's reconciliation recommendations, that's Energy and Commerce, related to Medicaid, as well as the marketplace provisions that extend beyond codifying the proposed rule, would increase the number of people without health insurance by 7.7 million. And then the kicker. In total, CBO estimates that these three actions would increase the number of people without health insurance by at least 13.7 million people. So that might be what he's talking about. He's like, yeah, we're cutting healthcare. Maybe he's not referring to the drug EO that he signed, which was largely just virtue signaling. Maybe he's referring to the number of people he's trying to get kicked off healthcare by way of slashing Medicaid. I want to play one last clip here because it just so beautifully captures the stupidity of Donald Trump and how tired and feeble he is. Not just, again, the bored reaction from foreign dignitaries and Trump's own people, but listen carefully to what he says.
They laughed at him. They laughed at our leader. And they're still laughing at our leader. They thought him a fool. And
they're still laughing at our leader. You're the leader, dumbass. You're the president of the United States, whether we like it or not. You are the leader. Now, you might have been referring to President Biden at the beginning of that statement, but are you saying President Biden is still your leader, still the leader of this country, that you're not the leader? Or are you the leader, in which case foreign dignitaries and foreign leaders are laughing at you, which is actually really believable. Trump was literally laughed at by the United Nations. President Biden never was. So you see how he accidentally insults himself? It's easy, again, to forget, given all the other issues with the Trump administration, the corruption, the authoritarianism, the just general stupidity, that there were serious questions about Trump's mental and physical health all throughout the 2024 election. When President Biden was the candidate, obviously, the polls were much worse for him with respect to physical and mental health. That's just a fact. And my only position was just hold them to the same standard, evaluate them by the same standard. And poll after poll after poll after poll showed that while more people were concerned about Biden's age and physical and mental health, majorities also were concerned about Trump's health as well. And then when President Biden dropped out of the race and Vice President Harris became the nominee, then the number of people concerned about Trump's age, mental and physical health skyrocketed further still. Because he is the oldest person to ever become president. He's stupid, he's corrupt, he's authoritarian. And it sure seems like he's not up to the job if we're holding politicians, all politicians, to that standard of physical and mental health, which again, totally fair. But Trump should also be evaluated on that standard as well. He's almost 80 years old. He's overweight. He has a terrible, terrible diet. He's visibly falling asleep on camera at state functions. He's stumbling, glitching, malfunctioning his way through a disastrous speech, boring his own people, scaring the hell apparently out of foreign dignitaries, and he was never particularly bright or substantive to begin with. That is a terrible combination, especially when you add it with all the other things. Again, the authoritarianism, the corruption. That's pretty bad, and that's where we are. I want to bring that to your attention because no doubt MAGA will try to spin the hell out of this, and I say just again, hold everybody to the same standard. They went after Biden. A lot of attention was on Biden. We acknowledge on this channel, even though we preferred Biden to Trump, that Biden was clearly in some sort of age-related cognitive decline. He was just getting old. I don't know if there was any evidence he had dementia, but even we acknowledge that Biden was old and Biden was not at his physical prime or his mental prime the way that some pretended that he was. But Trump, again, is a lethal combination of corrupt, authoritarian, stupid, and also physically and mentally infirm. And he's the guy with the nuclear codes for at least the next 4 years and a cult-like grip over the one Republican Party and the one political institution, Congress, that could hold him accountable. It's pretty bad. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.